Hello students, today we shall continue with the pointers chapter. Today we are going to study the next point, that is chain of pointers. It is possible to make a pointer to point to another pointer, thus creating a chain of pointers. In the given example diagram, you can see that first we have taken a value and this value is stored in a variable. P1 is a pointer variable which stores the address of this value. We have taken one more variable. This is also P2 is also a pointer variable, but this P2 variable will store the address of P1. So P2 is a pointer variable which points to a pointer variable. Okay, that is why this is known as chain of pointers. The pointer variable P2 contains the address of the pointer variable P1, which points to the location that contains the desired value. This is also known as multiple indirections. So one pointer points to another pointer variable which points to a value. This is known as multiple indirections. Now when we are going to use this multiple indirections, how we are going to declare this particular pointer? So we are going to declare this particular pointer with the help of two asterisk signs. Okay, P1 we are going to declare as usual with one asterisk sign, but when we are going to use multiple indirections, we are going to declare the pointer to pointer as double asterisks. This declaration tells the compiler that P2 is a pointer to a pointer of integer type. The pointer P2 is not a pointer to an integer but a pointer to an integer pointer. Okay, so this is chain of pointers. Next we'll move on to pointer expression. Like other variables, pointer variables can also be used in expressions. C allows us to add integer to or subtract integer from pointers, as well as to subtract one pointer from another. That is, we can do some arithmetic operations on pointer variables. For example, we can add 4 integer to pointer variable P1. So in this case, the address which is stored in pointer P1 will be incremented by 4. In this case, we have subtracted integer 2 from pointer variable P2. So whatever address is stored in P2 will be subtracted with 2. In this case, we have subtracted one address from another address. So such type of arithmetic operations are allowed on pointers. Pointers can also be compared using the relational operators. So not only arithmetic operations are done on pointers, we can also do relational operations, or we can use relational operators on pointer variables. So here you can see we can compare two addresses. The address stored in P1 is greater than the address stored in P2. Is the address stored in P1 equal to address stored in P2, or the address stored in P1 is not equal to the address stored in P2? So such type of relational operations are allowed on pointers. We may not use pointers in division or multiplication. So these are only the two arithmetic operations, division and multiplication, which we cannot do on pointers. So P1 divided by P2 cannot be done, is not allowed. P1 into P2 is also not allowed. Similarly, two pointers cannot be added. Okay, so we cannot do P1 plus P2. We can do P1 minus P2, but we cannot do P1 plus P2. So such type of expressions are known as pointer expressions. Now we shall see these pointer expressions in detail. The first is pointer increments and scale factor. So you can see over here we have incremented the pointer P1 with 1, P1 plus plus. So in this case the address stored in P1 can be incremented by using the increment operator. This will cause the pointer P1 to point to the next value of its type. If P1 is an integer pointer with an initial value 2800, then after the operation P1 plus plus, the value of P1 will be 2002. Okay, you will think that if the value of P1 is 2800, with P1 plus plus it should become 2801, but it is not the case. When we do P1 plus plus, it becomes 2002. When we increment a pointer, its value is increased by the length of the data type that it points to. This length is called the scale factor. This scale factor is very important when doing pointer arithmetics. The length of various data types are as follows. Character, it will be having 1 byte. Integer, it will be having 2 bytes. Float, 4 bytes. Long integer, 4 bytes. You can also assign one pointer variable to another only when both variables point object of the same data type. So here we have taken two pointer variables, ptr1 and ptr2. Both are pointer variables and both the pointer variables are going to point to float data type. So in this case we can do this ptr1 is equal to ptr2 because both are of same data type. If ptr1 is integer and ptr2 is float, we cannot use this assignment operators. Okay, next we'll move on to pointers, how they will be used on arrays. We have already seen the chapter arrays in the last semester. Now we are going to continue with this arrays. Now basically what is an array? An array is a set of homogeneous elements, which means in an array all the elements are stored adjacent to one another. Therefore we can access an array by using single pointer. So array is a homogeneous set of homogeneous element, means all the elements in an array will have the same data type and it is stored in the memory in adjacent. So one, then second, then third, and so on. When an array is declared, the compiler allocates a base address and sufficient amount of storage to contain all the elements of the array in contiguous memory location. So in array the elements are stored adjacent, that is in contiguous memory location. So the starting address is known as the base address. The base address is the location of the first element, that is having index 0 of the array. The compiler also defines the array name as a constant pointer to the first element. Now suppose we declare an array X and we initialize it as 2, 1, 4, 3 and 5. So we have taken an integer array which has 5 elements. Suppose the base address of X is 1000, and assuming that each integer requires 2 bytes, then 5 elements will require 10 bytes, and that will be stored as follows. So here you can see that the array is stored in memory in adjacent or contiguous memory location. First 2 bytes will be stored by the first element, second 2 bytes will be stored by the second element, next element with next 2 elements, and so on. So in this diagram you can see that elements x of 0, that is first element is 2, second is 1, third is 4, fourth is 3, and fifth is 5. So these are the values stored. These are the elements, how we are going to access them, and you can see over here that is the memory address. So if the base address, that is the address of the first element is 1000, then the address of the second will be 1002. Why? Because integer requires 2 bytes. So to store this integer 2, we will require 2 bytes, 1000 and 1001. So to store the second element, we will require 1002 and 1003. Next will require 1004, 1005. Next will require 1006, 1007, and next will require 1008 and 1009. Okay. Now this address, that is the base address, will be stored in the array name, that is x. The name x is defined as a constant pointer to the first element, that is x of 0, and therefore the value of x is 1000. This 1000 address of the first element will be stored in the variable x. Okay, that is the base address, the location where x of 0 is stored. That is, x is equal to address of the first element, that is equal to 1000 in this given example. Okay. If we declare p as an integer pointer, then we can make the pointer p to point to the array x by the following assignment statement. So p is a pointer variable, and the name of the array is also a pointer variable which stores the base address. So in this case, if we say p is equal to x, p will also store the address 1000. So this statement is equivalent to p is equal to address of the first element. What is the address of the first element? It is 1000. So p is equal to 1000. Now we can access every element of x using p++ to move from one element to another. The relationship between p and x is as shown. So the address of the first element is 1000, which is stored in p. When we do p++ or we do p+1, it will become the address of the second element, that is 1002. When we do p+2, it will become the address of the third element, which is 1004. Similarly, fourth element and fifth element. The address of an element is calculated using its index and the scale factor of the data type. Scale factor is nothing but how many bytes are required to store one element in an array. So this is the formula of how to access the address. So for example, if I want the address of the third element, address of x of 3, the formula is base address plus index into scale factor. Okay. Now in our given example, the base address is 1000 plus index is 3. So 3 into scale factor. Okay. To store one element, we are going to require 2 bytes because it is of type integer. So 3 into 2, 6 plus 1000 equal to 1006. So you can see over here address of x of 3 is 1006. So using this formula, we can calculate the address. you should only know the base address and the index and the scale factor. When handling arrays, instead of using array indexing, we can use pointers to access array elements. So now we shall see a program where we are going to use pointers in our array to access the elements. So we'll take the first program. Write a program using pointers to compute the sum of all elements stored in an array. So this is our program. We have declared a pointer variable p of type integer. We have taken one more variable sum, which is going to store the addition of all the elements. We have taken I as a loop counter. We have declared an integer array with 5 elements. We have also initialized these 5 elements. Initialize the loop counter I with 0. P is equal to x, that is the base address of this array, that is x, is stored in the pointer variable p. Okay, so if the base address when we allocate this array in the memory is 1000, p will have the value 1000. Now we'll start the loop. Is 0 less than 5? Yes. Then sum is equal to sum plus value stored at address p. What is the value of p? 1000. What is the value stored at address 1000? It is 5. Okay, because 5 is the first element. So sum is equal to 5. Clear? Now increment the value of I will become 1 and p will become 1002 if we take the base address as 1000. With this curly bracket we will go again over here. Is 1 less than 5? Yes. Sum is equal to 5 plus value stored at address 1002, that is nothing but the second element, that is 5 plus 9. Okay, then increment this both the values. This loop will continue till I becomes 5. Is 5 less than 5? No. Then come over here, printf sum is equal to the total calculated sum, and end of the program. So now you can see in this case we have not used x of 0, x of 1 or x of 2 and so on. We have used a pointer variable. Okay, so this is how we can access the array by using a pointer variable. We shall see one more program. Write a program to find largest value in array using pointer variable. Here again I have taken a pointer a of 20 of type integer. I is a loop counter. N is the size of the array. I have taken one temporary variable large and one more variable p is equal to 0. Okay, I have taken one more pointer variable. Input the array size, input the array over here. So here I have inputted the array a of I. I have taken b is equal to a, that is the base address of the array. I have initialized it to pointer variable b. This temporary variable I should initialize it to 0. In this for loop I shall keep on calculating checking the array elements with this variable large. If this large is larger, if the array element is larger than this temporary variable, I'll shift it to large. This logic we have already seen in the array programs. After this loop is over, we will get our largest value in the array, and we will also get the position at which the element was found as the largest value. Okay, you just execute this program, debug this, you will be able to understand the working. Next we'll move on to the last point, that is pointers and character strings. Here we have declared a string, strings are treated like character arrays and therefore they are declared and initialized. So here we have declared an array similar like integer array, but the data type is character. The name of the array is str and the size of the array is 5. Now why 5? Still we have initialized it to 4 characters, 1, 2, 3 and 4, because the last character is a null character. Including that, the size of this character array will be 5. The compiler automatically inserts the null character /0 at the end of the string. C supports an alternative method to create strings using pointer variables of type character. So instead of declaring the character array or string in this way, we can also declare a character array or a string in this way. Both the methods are similar. In this case we have given the size, in this case we have not given the size. Here we have not mentioned a asterisk, here we have mentioned an asterisk. Okay, so in this case we have declared a character string as well as initialized it. This creates a string for the literal and then stores its address in the pointer variable str. So you can see when we have declared such type of string, it will get stored in memory GOOD and at last the null character. The address of the first element is known as the base address and it will be stored in the variable str, that is the name of the string. Now we shall see an example. Write a program using pointers to determine the length of character string. Here I have declared a string whose name is nm. Here I have declared a variable which is going to calculate the length of the string, that is how many characters are there in the string, that is len. I have taken one more pointer cptr and initialized the base address of the string. What is the value of nm? Kolhapur. So here we are going to calculate how many characters are there in this string. We are going to increment the pointer cptr till we get the null character. Here we have initialized the base address. We are going to increment the base address till the contents of address becomes null, that is null character. Length is equal to the last address minus the first address, that is we will get the length. So in this case 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, length is equal to 8 as cptr will be 8 and name will be 1. 8 9 minus 1, 8 will get printed over here. Okay, you execute this program, debug this program, keep a watch on the variables. You will understand what is the working of this program. Thank you.